Hello, friends. Welcome to today's special episode of Life Coach for Ladies Truth Talks. I am Coach Sandra, and it is my deep honor to introduce you to Griselda Provencio, or as many know her, Gigi, the founder of Dyslexia Warriors, Moms Igniting Potential. Gigi has spent years helping moms who feel lost, overwhelmed, and unsure how to support their children with dyslexia. As the former owner of the Dyslexia Institute, Griselda has worked with countless families navigating tears over homework, late night worries, and the heartbreak of watching a child struggle. With a heart of deep compassion and a purpose driven approach, she equips moms with practical tools, early intervention strategies, and the steady encouragement they need to turn confusion into clarity and worry into confidence. Her heart is to walk alongside moms, helping them realize they're not alone and that with the right guidance, their children can thrive. Today, we are going to explore how the dyslexic brain works, why early intervention matters, and how moms can step into hope and healing. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive in. Gigi, thank you so much for being here today. Let's begin at the heart of your mission.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. And one day, I was in the therapy room keeping scores of the exercises that the children were working on, and one child in particular caught my attention. He was struggling, hesitating, second guessing, but frustration was written all over his face. And at that moment, I was taken back to when I was a child. When I struggled with reading, math problems were difficult, and when I always silently asked myself, am I not smart enough? But at this time, I wasn't a child, I was an adult, and I was about to learn something that was going to change my life forever. I discovered that I was dyslexic. Suddenly, my whole past made sense. The years of struggle, being overwhelmed, the exhaustion, and the feeling that I always had to work harder than the rest just to keep up. But more than anything, I just felt relief
Mm,
because now I had an answer, and that answer became my mission. I knew that I was not the only one going through the struggles. There are many children that face those struggles on a daily basis. And these are children that are smart, capable, and full of potential, yet they are struggling. And it's not because they don't want to succeed, it's just because nobody has taken the time to explain to them how their brain was designed in order for them to learn.
mhm,
Um, that's why I decided to open Dyslexia Warriors Moms Igniting Potential, because no child should have to struggle without the help that they need, and no mom should have to walk this path alone.
mhm, mhm. Wow, that really touches my heart, Gigi. And I have dyslexia and dysgraphia, and it wasn't something that was explained or understood when I was a kid. As soon as we started learning to write, it was always a struggle. They would
Mhm.
make me do it over and over, saying it's not right, and just making me feel bad that I have to do it again. And I was trying my hardest, but no one ever explained any of it to me. And I got through school okay. And kind of like how you noticed it a little bit later and got it, you know,
Mhm.
I was working when I was a teenager,
Mhm.
and it was at a steak place. And when you sat down, you would have your table number,
Mhm.
right? Like maybe you sat at number 10, and your ticket would have a number on it, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Up at the window, they had papers. So if I
Mhm.
sat you down, I would write table 10, ticket 1, 2, 3. Then whenever ticket 1, 2, 3 came up, anyone could look and say, okay, it goes to table 10, right? I struggled so much with that I almost couldn't do the job. The customers loved me taking care of them. The managers knew I worked really hard, but I would look at the paper and I couldn't see where the food was supposed to go. I struggled with it so much. And that was really when I was like, something, something is wrong with me. Why is this so hard? You know, so I think that it is something that we know more about now, obviously,
Mhm.
than when I was younger, and it is recognized. And I think it's powerful that we now have people like you that can work with the moms and help them and help the kids. So I'm just really grateful for the work that you're doing.
Thank
So
you. And
you,
I hear you because I went through that as well. And when I was in college, I always thought I am not smart enough. How am I going to be able to get a degree? So it's really
yeah,
nerve-wracking and just not knowing what's going on with you.
mm, yeah, it's hard.
Mhm,
And when you're a kid and you've got so much doubt anyway, and then you've got something that you don't understand, and even as a teenager, I mean,
mhm,
there's so many phases that we go through in life that are so hard to add an extra thing to it, an extra challenge that maybe you don't understand or you don't know.
mhm.
So you had the institute and now you're coaching moms. How did you end up working with the moms of children with dyslexia and how do you help them?
Well, as you just said, I had the institute, and that gave me the opportunity to get to meet the moms. They would come in frustrated, stressed because they were just told that the child was having problems with reading, spelling, and they didn't know what was going on. So I would sit down with them and I would explain to them what dyslexia was or what dyslexia is, how their brain works. I would give them tips, strategies so they could implement it at home. And that
Mm,
was one of the things that they always said. They were stressed and that they were carrying a lot at home. And the child sometimes would just refuse to do the homework and they didn't know how to handle that because they thought they were just being stubborn.
mm, mhm,
And the way I help them is that I created a program. It's a 90-day program, and it's called Conquering Dyslexia Confusion in 90 Days. And what I do, we meet once a week for every week for 90 days, and I go through the process of going really deep into what dyslexia is and what it's not, and how their brain works, and why the child acts in a certain way or reacts to what they're doing. Like sometimes they get so upset, but parents don't know why the child is upset. They just think that they're throwing a tantrum, and it's not that. What's happening is that they're frustrated and that's the way they are externalizing how they feel by hiding under the desk or by telling mom, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go and kiss my dad. They just have different excuses just to avoid doing
mm,
homework. And this program gives them the opportunity to understand their child better and apply the strategies and the tips that I give them and the tools so they can help their child at home.
mm. Amen to that. You are truly a gift to these families.
Thank
Let's step back for a moment.
you. Mhm.
For those who may not be familiar, what is dyslexia? Could you even walk us through a little interactive exercise?
Yes, I sure can. And I love doing this exercise. Dyslexia is a difficulty with reading and spelling that is unexpected based on the person's intelligence and potential. So, what I want to do right now, if you can pull out a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, because I am going to give you the definition again, but I want you to write it. But when you're writing it, you're going to write it with your less dominant hand. So
Oh,
if you're right-handed, do it with your left. And if you're left-handed, do it with your right. Okay?
mhm. Got it.
Okay, here we go. Dyslexia is a difficulty with reading and spelling that is unexpected based on the person's intelligence and potential. One more time. Dyslexia is a difficulty with reading and spelling that is unexpected based on the person's intelligence and potential. So can you tell me, how do you feel? Are you frustrated? Do you feel challenged? Maybe awkward? Okay, I can see that. Yes. Just imagine a child having to go through this 24/7 without even knowing why they are struggling so much. See, dyslexia is much more than reading and spelling, is deeply connected with phonological awareness, which is the ability to work and manipulate sounds of a spoken language. When a child cannot hear, cannot identify or manipulate those sounds, I can assure you they are going to have problems with reading, spelling, and building vocabulary.
Ah, so eye-opening. Thank you. How does the dyslexic brain work?
Okay, see, the left side of the brain, that's where we will process language. The right side of the brain is the creative side. Children with dyslexia are going to use the right side of the brain to process language. And usually I give them an analogy. Think of the dyslexic brain as a GPS that likes to take the scenic route.
Mm,
A typical brain, they are going to take a straight highway to be able to go through the reading and spelling, to process reading and spelling before they before they reach their destination. A child with dyslexia, or the dyslexia brain, is going to take the back road, explore different routes. It's going to probably take a little bit longer to get to their destination, but along the
mm,
way, they are going to pick up unique insights, um, new ideas, and also probably a new perspective on different things that other people might not picked up on. The journey is different, but they still get there.
mm,
And that's what's important.
mhm. Yeah, that gives so much hope to understand.
Yes.
Now,
Ye-
for the moms that are watching, this part is so important. What are the early signs of dyslexia?
Okay, the early signs, even when before they go to preschool, parents might notice that the child is having problem with speech. They might not call things by their names. Let's say they want milk. They are not going to say, Mom, I want milk. They're going to say, Mom, I want that. Or they're going to say, Tear Betty, be, Teddy, be,
Mm-hmm.
Bear Teddy, instead of teddy bear. They
Mm,
are going to say Paschetti instead of spaghetti. So those are red flags before they get to kindergarten. When they're in kindergarten, they're supposed to know the letter names. They also might have problems tying their shoelaces, getting confused with right and left. So those are the early signs.
mm,
When they get to elementary, they are going to struggle learning the letter sounds, which by the end of first grade, they should know their letter sounds. They also struggle with reading. It's going to be very difficult for them, and they are going to try to avoid it as much as they can. They are going to reverse the letters, confuse the letters, the B with a D, the P with a Q, the numbers, four, the three, the five, six, and nine. Those are the most common numbers that are reversed. And And they are also going to have problems with sight words. For example, the word the, was, who, what, whom. Those are the most common ones. And they are also going to have uh, problems, phonemic problems. Instead of saying or writing the word said as SAID, they are going to write it as SED. So they are going to write it the way it sounds to them,
Mhm.
not the
Mhm.
way that you are supposed to spell it.
Right.
And when they're in middle school, there are more challenges that they are going to be facing. For example, the number one, they are going to be reading at a lower grade level. They're going to have difficulty putting words together to write an essay or even to participate in a conversation. Sometimes these children feel like left out because when they're with their peers and they're talking about any subject, their brain is trying to come up with a comment, right? And by the
Mhm.
time they're ready to express what they need to express, um, the moment is gone, and they cannot participate anymore. So they struggle with all that. They also um, struggle with after putting their, I'm sorry, it just takes them longer to complete their assignments.
Mhm.
And some of them, especially in high school, they might drop out of school because it's so challenging to them. And then what happens is that since they don't know how to read or write, they struggle finding a job. And in some instances, they get in trouble. And this is a sad story, but it's true. They sometimes they end up in jail, and 80% of the inmates are have a learning disability, and
Mhm.
50% of those are dyslexic.
Wow.
So this is something that we really need to be aware of. We need to talk about dyslexia so we can stop this. The children need to get the help that they need at an early stage of their life, not when they're in middle school or in high school, because it happens.
Mhm.
Sometimes they just don't, they fall through the cracks and they don't get that help and they don't thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for making that so clear. Yeah. For me, one of the biggest struggles has been writing my name. Like you write your name a million times in your life, probably. And I will just be in the middle of writing my name and it's just like I get stuck. So that's one of the reasons why I just scribble. It's just so much easier. I just scribble something and then it's like, yeah, that's my mark.
Yes.
But those statistics, that's alarming,
Oh, it's
really
alarming. Yes.
alarming. Yeah.
Mm.
And
And
and that's
go ahead.
why early intervention matters.
Yes, yes. And right now that you were saying you were struggling to write your name, it's a common story. Moms would tell me, he cannot even spell their name. What's wrong with them? So yeah, it's very common for them not to be able to spell their own names.
Yeah, because that's probably something that you write the most,
Mhm.
and so that's why you notice it. That's such a struggle. So yeah, that's so true. How is dyslexia diagnosed?
Okay, dyslexia is diagnosed through a battery of different tests. They are going to evaluate them in reading, spelling, comprehension, um, also memory, because it does affect memory, and
Mm,
other cognitive issues that they have to know about if they're excelling or they're not doing well in certain areas, like phonological awareness as well. And the evaluation is done by a professional, a school psychologist, or a diagnostician, or a dyslexia specialist, reading specialist. Once they go through the process of the evaluation, um, they are going to prepare a report, and that is going to be presented at a later date. And this report is so valuable because they are going to have a road map of how the child is struggling,
Mm,
but also their, not just the deficiencies, but their strengths. Everything is going to show there.
mm,
And that way they are going to be able to create a therapy program specifically for that child. So what I tell the parents, knowing the why of their struggles is the first step so they can get the help that they need.
mm. Yeah, that's so helpful to know. I love that they make a roadmap, and I think it's especially important. You said they let them know what their strengths are.
Mhm.
Because we're not wanting to put a label on this child, and we don't want to say, well, you're never going to be able to make it because now we know why, but you're still having the struggle. We want to say this is what it is,
Mhm.
but you have all of these strengths too, and we can work on the blind spots that you have or the deficiencies that you have. So I love that. Let's talk about school because I know many parents are wondering about this, and that's where the child is struggling the most. So, what rights or accommodations does a child with dyslexia have at school?
There are two that they are going to offer once they go through the process of the evaluation and presenting the report. The child can either be assigned to a 504 plan or to an IEP. IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. And this is a legal document that is under special education. Okay, so they are going to provide the child with specialized instruction with reading. They are also going to give them accommodations. And what's going to happen, their curriculum is going to be modified. And that's something that the parents need to pay close attention, okay? Because your child, even though your child is dyslexic, they are smart, okay?
Mm,
So I always caution the parents and I say, think about it. Because the 504 plan is also a legal document, but it's under another type of law that it was written in 1973. And this is more about accommodations, not so much about the curriculum. They will stay in the same curriculum. They are not going to modify it, but they are going to give them preferential seating, like close to the teacher, maybe more time when they're doing a test, and also more breaks in between. At times, they also take them to a different room just to avoid distraction. So again, you need to really think about the two options. One is going to be special education. And once your child is labeled under special education, he's going to be labeled in special education the rest of his life.
mhm,
And your child is capable, they're smart. Their curriculum is going to be modified. The 504 program, they keep their same curriculum, they just get the accommodations that they need.
mm. That's wonderful information for parents to have. Yeah.
Yes, you really need to think about it because it's going to affect your child. And sometimes, they're put under the IEP and the child gets bored.
Hmm.
Why?
Hmm.
Because they're smart and they know more than what they're teaching them. So
Mm,
that's why it's imperative that the parents really think about the two options and what would be best for their child.
hmm. Hmm. And so speaking with a coach like you can help them to understand better what their options are and how to move forward best for their situation.
Yes, I can share all this information with them, but bottom line, it's going to be their decision. But I want to
Absolutely.
make sure that they know the options and
Mhm.
how it's going to affect your child
Yeah.
throughout their lives.
Yeah. Knowledge is power. If we don't
Mhm.
understand, we don't know how to make the right decision. So you touched on this a little bit, but how does dyslexia affect learning beyond reading?
Okay, dyslexia, again, it's like you said, beyond reading, is more than reading and spelling. It also affects memory. And you might ask your child to do a certain thing. You might give them a list of different things to do, and your child might forget what you just said. And it's not because they don't understand or they're being difficult. It's just that it takes time for them to process the information. So they tend to forget. They also might miss some steps along the line, and you just need to make sure that when you give instructions to your child, you don't give them a long list. Make sure that it's maybe three things at a time,
Mm,
but they need to be short instructions. Don't tell them, well, you have to um, clean your room and make your bed and this and that and the other, because they're going to forget all of that. You just say, clean your room, work on your homework, brush your teeth, and that's it. Short,
mm,
sweet, and to the point.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm,
another area where they struggle is organizational skills.
mm,
Organizational skills affect executive functioning, and that is going to affect them. They're going to be disorganized. They are going to forget or keep track of their belongings. So many times the moms would say, "Oh, I had to buy them a new jacket or a new backpack or something because they were always forgetting where they left it."
mm,
And also, what's really interesting, when they're working on an assignment, they are not going to be able to know where to start. It's going to be hard for them.
mm,
And time management skills, it's telling time is kind of tricky for them. Again, it affects organizational skills and just trying to figure out how long a project is going to take so they can complete it. Simple
mm,
things like that, that you
mm.
don't think that it's really going to affect a child, but it does. It does affect the child that has dyslexia.
Yeah, well, such important points. Thank you for explaining that because I think when we hear dyslexia, we just think about writing
Mhm.
and don't realize how much it's affecting the child in so many other ways. Now, Gigi, let's clear up some misunderstandings. What are some of the myths about dyslexia?
It's important to mention that there are a lot of misconceptions out there about dyslexia and about the child that has the condition. These misunderstandings, if we don't clarify them, they can delay the support that they need, and it's going to create a lot of unnecessary frustration. Number one, I would say, or the most common one, is that dyslexia means that the children see the letters backwards. See, dyslexia is not about vision. It's about processing the language. It's a
Mhm,
language processing difference. That's what it is. For example, the child is reading a paragraph and they see the word no, they read it as on. Saw for was, maybe pat for tap. As you can see, it's not that they're seeing the letters backwards, it's just that they are having problems processing the sounds in the right order.
mm,
Okay,
okay.
now another one would be that children with dyslexia should try to work harder or should work harder. If anything, children with dyslexia work twice as hard as their classmates. It's not about effort. It's about needing a different kind of instruction.
Mm,
So that's why we need to understand that these children are carrying a big load. They
mhm,
work double. They're always tired. Their brain gets tired just trying to decipher the information. It's tiring for them. So we
mhm,
need to really understand these children and not make fun of them. We need to support them. And also, I tell the parents, please do not compare your child to a sibling or to a cousin or a friend, because you're not comparing apples to apples.
mm. Yes, I am so glad that you shared that. And lastly, this is for the mama who may be watching right now and holding back tears. Do you have any advice, moms who are feeling overwhelmed, who don't know how to help their child at home?
Well, I would tell the moms that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, especially when you are trying to help your child and you don't know where to start and you don't know anything about the condition. You also
Mm,
have to understand that you are not alone and you don't have to do everything at once. You need to start small, you know, um, learn what dyslexia is, understand how their brain works and why they behave in a certain manner when they're working on, when they're doing their homework, especially. And the third thing, it would be focus on building your child's confidence.
mm,
Your child is bright, capable, and make sure that they understand that they are deeply loved.
mm,
You need to celebrate every time they learn how to spell a new word. It could be a three-letter word. It doesn't matter. Just celebrate. Or maybe they just made a, a good effort to try to read that word, but they couldn't. Well, just for making the effort, celebrate that effort. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate.
mm,
Not just once a month, but every single day. These children, they need to be reassured. They need to be motivated. And the best way to motivate them is by telling them that they are smart, they are capable, and they can thrive.
mm. What a beautiful encouragement. Gigi, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your wisdom, your experience, and your mission today with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it for giving me the opportunity to talk about dyslexia because we need to bring awareness. I know when we were growing up, dyslexia was not really mentioned. And they
Mhm,
were just saying a learning disability, but not specifically dyslexia. But things are changing. I can see that things are changing, and now people are talking more about dyslexia.
mhm,
And if we continue talking about it and making sure that the parents and siblings and the whole family understands what dyslexia is and what it's not, and how to help their child, is going to make a big difference in this world. And
yes.
if I could just leave you with a pearl of wisdom, it
Mm,
would be this. Moms, you don't have to have all the answers to be the right mom for your child. Your child's struggle is the soil where resilience and brilliance grow. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because uh, I know how hard it is for the children. And I just want to encourage the moms that don't be embarrassed about your child being dyslexic because it's a strength. It's not it's not going to hinder them if they get the help that they need. And you as a mom, you're going to be the best advocate for them.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. To every mom watching, I pray you feel seen, supported, and strengthened. You are not alone, and there is hope for your child to thrive. And friends, Gigi has a special free gift for you. Do you want to tell them about your ebook?
Yes, if you can visit dyslexiawarriors.com, you can download an ebook that I have there. And also, if you would like to talk to me one-on-one for 30 minutes, you can also schedule a discovery session with me.
Mhm. So that ebook is filled with tools and encouragement to just help them right where they are.
Yes, and I
That-
also talk about different case studies.
Nice.
Mhm.
So be sure to check the line that's in the description below. I'm going to have a link right to download that ebook and also a link to get to her website. And remember that with the right guidance, you and your child can walk this journey with peace and purpose and joy. So thank you for joining us today. And until next time, remember Proverbs 31:25. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in the time to come. And may God bless you.
Thank you.